Welcome back yet again to the Strong Conversations podcast, live from the International Builder Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, inside the Simpson Strong-Tie booth. As always, I am Sam Marcoux, and he, as always, is Mr. Scott Lang. Scott, how you doing?
I'm well. It's Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
It's Thursday at IBS, which usually means crickets.
Yeah.
But today, I'm actually happy to see there's a lot of floor activity on a Thursday, which means it's good for us.
Yeah, it's everyone was telling me Thursday's going to be quiet in the podcast booth because there's not a lot of activity, but there's a decent amount of activity going on right now. That you can still hear things, you see people talking, you see people demoing stuff. That is I think a good indicator for what the excitement level is in the industry.
Agree 100%.
So, other than I just found out your name, Scott Lang, is apparently the name of the character who is Ant-Man in the comic books. He's a Marvel comic book. So,
yes.
How long have you been Ant-Man?
Since I was born. So I get that reference occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get the Ant-Man reference, and I take it.
Were you a comic book guy?
No.
So you didn't know it until...
And when the movie came out and somebody came and says, hey, you're Ant-Man, and at that point I realized that there's some commonality in the names.
That's kind of weird, right? Like if you're just out and somebody comes up to you and goes, you're Ant-Man, and you're like, I don't know how to...
Yeah.
What am I doing here?
Yeah. So we're good now. We got it figured out.
Well, spoiler alert, you're not Ant-Man, but you are a Simpson Strong-Tie employee. What is your title now, and what do you do for us?
So my title is Vice President, Market Development for Residential Digital Solutions. Okay, that's the longest title at Simpson, I think, easily.
That's the whole podcast. It's now over.
It's over, yeah. It was a nice talk with you. So how it came about. Simpson has a 2030 plan, and part of that plan is to really lean into our digital solutions.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to bring somebody on board that can take the lead on that. So think of it as my own business.
Yeah.
So I'm running a business called Residential Digital Solutions, and I get to go build this market. It's extremely exciting. It's kind of a choose your own adventure, and help grow the company.
How did you find yourself? Well, how did you find yourself in the building industry? Let's just start there. It was because you've been in the industry for a while. You had different hats within Simpson and prior to Simpson. So how did you find yourself in this space to begin with?
So my family builds homes. I decided to go to school to become an electrical engineer.
Okay. And
I spent about maybe 8 years writing software, bored out of my mind. I was with my dad walking around in the backyard, and I told him that. He goes, well, we're thinking about growing our business. I'm like, I'm in. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm in. I want to go build houses with you. So I did that for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then I had an opportunity to kind of mix the technology with the home building.
Oh, wow.
And I've worked for Hyphen, I've worked for Co-Construct, I've worked for 4 or 5 different technology firms, all in residential construction.
And that's kind of cool to have that, digital or software background, maybe not marry it exactly how you want it, go do some stuff outside, go swing a hammer, put some boards together, and then marry those two and on-ramp them onto an information superhighway in the construction industry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, you gave us the title, you gave us a little bit of the history there. Talk to me about what the work is. Like you said, building the team. Talk to me about what you got. What are you doing right now?
We want to solve problems.
Yeah.
Digitally. And so what we're doing now, because we're still formulating, right? I don't have a 100% fully baked out executable strategy.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're building a residential journey. How does it start with land? What steps do we go through to get the house built? Once the house is built, where does it go? And we're looking at that journey, and we're looking at where are there problems that aren't being solved where we can apply technology.
Okay.
So we do we have a number of software and services that we're really, really good at. We're going to continue to provide those and build on those. But we think there's a lot of opportunity in the digital space for our home builders to solve the big problem, which is the gap between available, affordable houses and what the real need is.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we close that gap? And
right.
we think a lot of that is going to be done by building smarter, faster, better through technology. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah, so coming to a show like IBS, where a lot of folks, as you know, have been in the podcast studio. We've been talking about hot button issues. There are all about 3 or 4 major issues going on right now that people keep identifying. One of them is technology, AI, and how that's changing the industry. So with your new role and what you are looking to do, the problem you're looking to solve, you come to a show like this, is that the main focus for you, or what's the main focus in this new role at Simpson when you come to a show like this? And there's, by NAHB's records, when they sat here yesterday, close to 80,000 people just at the Builder Show registered alone. What's the main goal for you?
It's 2 parts.
Yeah.
One is Simpson for 60 years has been known as we like to use the term bent metal company, right?
Yeah.
Building safer, stronger structures. One goal is to go to events like this so home builders stop coming up to me and say, "Oh, you guys have software?" So it's adding to our brand, not changing our brand, but adding to our brand as a digital solutions company. So we've got a great presence here that really kind of show off our digital stuff.
Yeah.
So that's number one, is just brand awareness, that additive brand awareness, right? If we can bring the customer service and the quality and the dedication that we have in our physical goods to digital solutions, it's a home run for everybody. The other thing is, we're not going to build an end-to-end solution. I don't think it's possible to do that because of the variations, the way people build. So what we want to do is we want to build point solutions that we can then partner with other industry digital solutions providers. And this is so we go over and we spend time in the technology area talking to the leaders of those companies. How do we partner? We want to make sure that if there is overlap, we're careful. You're always going to have some competitive situations, but if we can manage those, right? As long as we acknowledge them and take a very strategic approach to them. So it's twofold. It's the awareness, lead generation, and then it's also, hey, we're going to change the industry, but we can't do it alone. How can we all work together?
So we talked at the beginning of the podcast that we're here on the last day of the International Builder Show, usually a little more calm. And there's certainly a difference between the first 2 days and today, but as we're sitting here talking, I'm seeing so many people walking by the studio and looking at things that Simpson Strong-Tie is providing. What have you picked up this week? What's got you excited about the industry? Not necessarily from Simpson, but what's got you excited after 3 days of being here, talking to people, having meetings, going to events, and seeing all the different products that are out there? What's got Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, ready to go be a superhero after this show?
I'll start with a question. How many times have you heard or said AI in the last 3 days? 2 days?
I've heard and said the AI so many times that I now know how to spell it, which is progress for me.
That's like real intelligence, not artificial intelligence.
Natural, organic intelligence. Yeah.
And I look at it a little bit different. The buzz around AI and machine language learning and all that, I think it's going to help our industry. But I think what it's doing is just kind of how you started. It's bringing technology to the forefront.
Yeah.
Whether we leverage AI or not in that, who cares, as long as people are talking about how can we be more efficient with technology.
Yeah.
So I love that AI is everybody's buzzword. I'm not necessarily sure that we're ready for it, but if it's going to drive more people to think about digital solutions, I'm all in.
Yeah, well, and
AI, all in.
All in, there you go, another AI. And not, for making puns, it's a strong conversation point for everybody at every booth. I mean, you can't walk the floor and not see some sort of digital solution or software or some sort of technology piece, because it's omnipresent. It is everywhere in this industry now. And that's, I think, one of the biggest differences from even a couple of years ago, but certainly from when I started, which was 23 years ago, to now. I would say, if somebody said, what's the biggest difference? I would say that the technology spike in our industry has got to be the number one thing that I would tell people.
And we need the challenge. When I talk to builders, we've got problems. We'd love to solve them, but it's a pendulum. 2 years ago, go away, I'm too busy flying the plane, you're not changing my engine.
Right.
The market changes, and now it's like, we're really in an SG&A crunch. We're not looking to invest in technology right now. We've got to just keep the lights on. So it swings, and home building has always done that, right? And I think every industry is. So it's a little bit of is timing. If you can time it right, where you're catching them where they have bandwidth and they feel good about the market, that's when they're primed for adoption. So I'm thinking that's going to come. I think the market's going to, we've heard that multifamily is going to start picking up again, which means, maybe the financing is becoming available. I think that's a good leading indicator to where single family is going to go.
Yeah. That's been probably one of the most interesting things for me sitting in this studio all week is talking to framers, talking to engineering firms, talking to builders, talking to people adjacent to the industry but have an eye on what's going on the external forces and pressures that are being put on us. There seem to be a lot of, it's almost like a simmering pot of water right now, and pretty soon it's going to start boiling, right? And then we're cooking. It feels like later this year, 2025, and certainly into 2026, just about everybody says the floodgates are going to open. So do you feel the same way? Is that kind of where you're at? Or is that your timeline?
Like I say, if post-COVID we were swung way to, I just need to get all hands on deck.
Yeah.
I think hopefully we've swung back to the other side where we have concerns about our market.
Yeah. And
I think I'm with you. I kind of think it's going to start come back the other way.
During the 2009 downturn, one of the phrases that had always stuck with me, and I couldn't even tell you who told me this, but the phrasing was good, and it said, rocks are always being thrown. It's just we now have time to pick them up and look at them.
That's great.
And I was like, I really love that, and I feel like that's kind of where we are. This is the prime spot, like you said, to be prepared and get ready for what's happening next. Yeah. So I guess my last real question, because I've got a couple of other questions for you, Scott, but what are you doing to be ready for that later this year? What's the big thing that you are excited about heading into the second half of 2025 later this year?
So we talk about digital solutions at Simpson Strong-Tie. As you know, for the last 3 years, we've invested in bringing in a new product team, bringing in new developers. We brought in a CTO. So we've built the foundation of talent. We're doing this journey map, which is going to say, how do we leverage all this really cool talent we have?
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for, 6, 12, 18 months is that excitement of marrying all this really great talent with the problems that we see we can solve.
Awesome.
So bringing those two together because the time is right. So.
Well, like you said, you're looking 6 to 12 to 18 months out. I'm looking 6 hours into the future here, Scott. Are you going home today? Are you going
tomorrow morning?
You're going home tomorrow morning. Okay. So I'm going to be going home tomorrow morning as well, which means I have to eat tonight. So 6 hours from now, roughly, I'm going to start thinking about dinner. What recommendation can you give me? I mean, you're a vice president after all. I mean, you know some things. Where would you put me in dinner tonight so I have the best time?
I'm hoping to have a better answer for you tomorrow because we're doing Bazaar Meats.
Okay.
Have you heard of Bazaar Meats?
I've heard of it. I have not done it. Bazaar Meats.
It's something to do with a pig flying through the air that's involved there, according to Nate. So I've been looking forward to this. So a bunch of us are going to do Bazaar Meats. So I'm hopefully, if you ask me tomorrow, then that. But up until now, my favorite place to go here has always been the Eiffel Tower restaurant.
Okay.
In the Paris, and you get their ribeye.
Yeah.
It comes with the bone marrow. It is the best steak you'll ever have.
That is a guy right there that is over-delivering. I asked for one recommendation, and he gave me two. Yeah. That's why you are the superhero known as Ant-Man. All right, last question for you. Since you are going to be here tonight, if somebody were to come up to you and say, I'll give you $1 million, and you get to pick the casino game, but you have to go pick one casino game, what are you playing and why?
For me, it's easy. It's craps.
Craps.
It's a social game. I love the social aspect of it. If you're going to win $1 million, you're going to have half the casino around you, and the table is going to be all energy, and that's really what I'm there for. So I've been going to casinos my whole life, and there's actually one 2 miles from my house, and I walk through occasionally, and I just see people playing other games like blackjack or whatever, and it looks like they're working. It's like work, sitting at that. So I love craps because it's a social game, and that's really what I'm there for, is to have fun. So
have some fun.
If I could win $1 million in a craps game, that would be epic.
He's the superhero of digital solutions for the residential market. He is Scott Lang from Simpson Strong-Tie. Thank you for being here on the show. Thank all of you for joining me here in the booth here in Las Vegas. My voice is going out here, Scott. We still have yet more content coming. Stay tuned. We'll see you guys for the next one. Great job.
Thanks.
Wonderful.